Yes, sir. We're officially back at it. This is Boog Nice coming at you with the Hasbro Marvel Legends Hasbro Pulse exclusive Logan movie, Logan and Professor X 2-pack review. Let's do it.
This ain't for no scalper. You a scalper? Then fuck out shit. This one's for them real collectors. That's army building and posing figures. Marvel Legends, imports, mini matey I'm fucking with. Hype beast we know about you. Stay buying figs, don't know about you.
So here's one side of the box. You can see the silhouette of Logan with his claws popped on the left hand. And on the opposite side, we have Professor Xavier in his wheelchair. And this image is the same on the back and front. And actually, that outer portion was just a sleeve. So when you remove the sleeve, then you got Charles and Logan together on the back of the box. And then here they are together in the front. All right, let's get this open. All right, here we go. Logan, aka Wolverine, and Charles Xavier, aka Professor X, as played by Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart in 2017's Logan movie. This was 20th Century Fox's final movie in this solo Wolverine trilogy that began with X-Men Origins in 2009, which was pretty awful, and then it continued with the Wolverine in 2013, which was pretty good, and then finally they ended the trilogy with Logan, which was the best movie in the trilogy and probably one of my favorites of all time for a superhero flick. I think they really nailed Logan or Wolverine character, and the performances here from Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart were phenomenal. While I think the real treat was the performance from Daphne Keane, who played X-23, there was some great supporting characters in this. The fellow who played Caliban, let me know his name in the comments below. All of the Reavers, it was cool to see them as the antagonists in the movie. I was talking with somebody, I guess we were on Instagram, and they were saying that it would have been cool if they included Sabretooth in the story as opposed to the clone Wolverine. I think that would have been really, really dope. But overall, the performances from everybody in this film was really good. Initially, I didn't like the final act. I didn't like some of the bits with the other mutant children, but watching it again recently, like a couple days ago, overall, it was a very good movie, man. And I kind of take that sentiment back, I think. You know, I always say how I don't really mess with the movie figures too tough from Marvel Legends, but I got a bin full of movie figures from Marvel Legends. It's been really refreshing to see them do some of the Sony Fox movie or Fox movie characters. I guess they will get into Sony when they start to do some of the Spider-Man stuff, because I think we're going to see that for sure. It was something that I mentioned to the team when I got to interview them last, but they've done a very, very good job with these movie properties. The figures from the Deadpool movie and, you know, from the Logan movie here. I'm excited to see what else they do, because they've been doing some really unique things with the sculpts and with accessories. So yeah, let's take a closer look at these two. So taking a look at Hugh Jackman's beat up and battered Logan here. In the movie, his healing factor was burning out and he was being poisoned by the adamantium in his body, so he wasn't healing as rapidly as he normally does, and he was definitely showing a lot of wear and tear. So that's represented here on this head sculpt, which I think looks very good. Now, I don't think it's the perfect likeness to Hugh Jackman here. Kind of looks like angry, beat up Jesse Falcon a little bit, but it's not bad. It's very good. I think it's still one of the best that Marvel Legends has ever done. One of my only gripes though with this head sculpt is that there is this huge gappage in the back, and so trying to shoot this figure from behind is just not going to happen. At least I'm not going to do it, because I don't like the way that looks. I'll always, you know, mess with it or turn it or something so that way you can't see that. But this looks like one of the newer ball pegs that they've been using, or they've dabbled with recently. I think they use these type of ball pegs with the figures from the Crimson Dynamo Build-A-Figure wave, but this I'm not really a fan of. A few more fine details to note here. The neck hair. I can relate to that. I only get a neck beard. I can't grow a good beard, so. But you know, Wolverine's supposed to be a really hairy guy. I like that attention to detail. The deco is fairly accurate from the movie. This is him in his kind of work uniform as the limousine driver. All of that is accurate for the most part, except the shoes. It looks like they just stuck with the same sculpt that they normally use for their suited figures and use that same type of hard bottom shoe. But I know the shoes are not the same because the movie actually opened up with a shot of his feet. But otherwise than that, I think he looks really good. And it's interesting to note that this is not their typical suited body. They gave him a little more bulk, a little more girth in the upper torso. I'll get another suited body in here for comparison shortly. So this is a better match to Hugh Jackman's physique, and I really like that, and I'm interested to see what other heads may pop on this body. And the hands do pop out, so you do have the option to swap on some additional hands. I'm not going to bore you with the articulation. It's the standard articulation for their suited body. Again, like I said, it's just a little bulkier. Overall, a very good looking figure here. Very nicely done. So let's move on to Professor Xavier. And taking a closer look at Professor X here. Again, they did a pretty good job here with the deco as far as matching it up to the movie look, except I don't think they got the shoes right on Professor X either. But the upper torso is something that's new that we've never seen before, which is cool. And then other than that, it's the lower legs for their normal suited body, the more slender version of the suited body. But I do think they really nailed Professor X's head sculpt, or Patrick Stewart's head sculpt. I do think they did a better job with the likeness here as opposed to Hugh Jackman. But again, both are very well done, down to the spots on his head and some on his neck as well, on his chest. That looks very good. In the movie, Professor X was suffering from some sort of neurological disease. They never really specified if it was dementia or Alzheimer's. I'd like to lean toward dementia, and obviously that's extremely dangerous for the person with the most powerful, or the most powerful telepath on Earth to have dementia. And just the dynamic between Wolverine or Logan and Professor X in the movie was just so well written and done, and just how they were interacting with each other was like a aging father and son type of deal. And I'm sure a lot of us could relate to that in our older years, dealing with our parents who are up there in age. But yeah, the sweater and shirt combo is very octogenarian. Is that the right term? This variation with the sweater and shirt combo could definitely be utilized for some swaps as well, just like with the Logan body. Well, I hope, because you know that neck peg is different on the Logan body. But maybe a Stan Lee swap here would look cool, or maybe even Chameleon's head on that body as he would be trying to imitate somebody else. You know, that would look cool. But I broke out the Chameleon figure just so you can see how much larger this buck is for or at least the upper torso for Logan. You can see there's quite a bit of height difference there. So I could see them utilizing this new suited body, maybe for those goons from the Magia family that you guys were talking about in one of my previous videos about the army builders. I could see maybe them utilizing this for some goons. I'd like to see how Norman Osborn would look on this body, actually. But yeah, I'm already talking about swaps, and I didn't even really go over the accessories yet. I'm gonna have to backtrack because Logan does have a couple accessories that are very cool. This is Professor X's only accessory, his wheelchair. And this was actually one of the reasons why I picked up this pack, because this wheelchair can actually be utilized for an old school sort of like 80s comic style Professor X that may actually go with your like giant size X-Men or something like that. This is not 100% accurate to the chair in the movie, because the chair in the movie was actually motorized, so he had the little joystick right here. I don't remember if it was the left or the right side. This is definitely the look that you want for an old school Professor X, comic Professor X before the hover chair, before the 90s. The wheels do move, the bigger wheels. It's one piece, so you move one side, they both move. The smaller wheels do not. It's a good sculpt here. I think this is something that they repurposed from the old X-Men line, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like I remember Dwight or Jesse or somebody mentioning that. And obviously, if you wanted to use this wheelchair with some other character, then, you know, you could. Backtracking to Logan and his accessories, it wouldn't be Logan or wouldn't be a Wolverine figure without an additional set of hands with his claws popped out. And these are probably some of the best that Marvel Legends have done. They look good. They're not warped out of the package. It looks very accurate to the movie. And I'm interested to see if I can swap these on to one of the comic-based Wolverines for another look. These are tight. I wonder if these blades can actually come out too. I'll have to try that some other time. And obviously you can mix and match and have one hand with the claws popped out and one with the claws retracted. Whatever you want to do there. But aside from this set, you also have an additional bloodied set. First time we've ever had something like this in the Marvel Legends line. Obviously this particular movie was rated R. It was a lot of blood and guts and decapitations. And I think they did a very good job of portraying Wolverine on screen. For certain, some Marvel movies need to have an R rating to really portray the character properly, and this right here was a nice touch. And then his final accessory is an additional head sculpt, so it looks like he's screaming here. I'm not a huge fan of this one. I kind of wish his teeth were gritted, or he just looked a little more angry. I mean, he's screaming, he does look angry, but I don't know, something just seems a little bit off. But the head sculpt is still very, very good. You know, you can definitely see some nice shading and stuff in the hair on both sculpts. You can see some grays in there. Wolverine is obviously just about as old as Professor X, basically, or maybe even older. All of this working in tandem is very cool. It would have been nice to get maybe some additional accessory with Professor X, mind accessory or something that looked like he's utilizing his powers. His powers were kind of out of control in the movie as he was, you know, suffering from whatever neurological issue he was suffering from. Maybe some sort of effect that could attach to Professor X's head to show that he was utilizing his powers, or maybe an additional head sculpt for Professor X where he was like smiling or his eyes were closed or something like that. Would have been a really nice addition. But you can definitely swap these hands onto other Wolverine figures that have the bare hands out, I guess, or, you know, ungloved Wolverine figures. This is the Weapon X Wolverine without the gear on. Now the skin tones don't absolutely match up, but again, I think these are some of their best shaped claws that they've done that are not warped. And obviously you could go with the claws that are clean or the bloody ones. There's a look at that. Maybe the head is a little large for this body. Yeah, the proportions seem just a little bit off, but I guess you could finagle it, you could finesse it. Hugh Jackman is a tall dude. I've actually met him before. When I used to do security in Empire State Building, I used to do a lot of the celebrity details there, and I actually met him and his wife. He's a little bit taller than me, actually. Real nice dude. One of my favorite people that I've met on that detail. Yeah, there's one of the bloody claws on one of the comic-based Logan figures. And again, you can finesse it. Not the perfect match of the skin tone once again, but this looks good. I like it. Man, we need a good set of bloody claws for a suited Wolverine. Obviously, this is not going to work because, you know, his hand is supposed to be fully gloved. All right, Hasbro, make it happen. We need the new bloody claws for any upcoming suited Wolverine. Few swaps here. This is a little buffer Peter Parker. I don't really think that works that well. His head looks a little small, but you can finesse it. Oh, I actually like that. This is the new Norman Osborn head that came with the retro Green Goblin. It does look a little small, and you're going to have that gap itch in the back, but I do like this. This is a better look for Norman Osborn, who is pretty buff. You know, he does have the Goblin serum running through his body that does give him superhuman strength and durability and what have you. I like this a lot. And for a more manic look, this is the old Toy Biz unmasked head that came with the variant Green Goblin. This could work. A little less gappage in the back too. Skin tones are not absolutely matching up, but again, you can finesse it. And there's a better body for Hammerhead, more suited for his look. That works. There's the unmasked Tony Stark head that came with the all new, all different Iron Man. It won't really pop onto the peg, but if it did, that would look okay for Tony Stark. There's Nick Fury from the Nick Fury / Shield Agent, which we definitely need a re-release of on Hasbro Pulse for the discounted Army Builder price ASAP. But this looks pretty decent. Again, little gappage in the back, but I like that for Nick Fury, who is pretty buff as well. He's in good shape. And I went ahead and broke out the Stan Lee head for this body, which I think looks nice for another look for Stan Lee as well. I think that's cool. Man, would I love to see them continue to give us characters from this movie. At the very least, it would be really cool to see an X-23 character. Maybe another 2-pack down the line, we'll see another look for Logan packed in with X-23 or X-23 and Caliban or one of the Reavers or something like that. I think that would be really cool. It'd actually be a good way for them to give us the evil cloned Wolverine. So I hope Hasbro does delve deeper into some of these movies movie figures or movie characters and give us more options and more playability and swappability with some of our comic-based characters. But this is a great set. This is one I would highly recommend. I'm thinking this is one of my favorite Marvel Legends purchases on the year. And yeah, man, you should definitely try to pick this up. This was Hascon or HasLab exclusive though, so I don't know if they're gonna re-release this at retail in some form of fashion, and I do actually think this is sold out on their website, so I'm really happy to have this one. But thanks for hanging out. As always, rate, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell down there, and until next time, peace.